All right, so this right here is gonna be MSI's B550 Unify motherboard. It's probably gonna be the best B550 motherboard out there, and it rightfully should be because it's $290, which is super expensive for a B550 board. Even for an X570, that's a pricey motherboard. Now, it's going to be compatible with all latest Ryzen chips, so Ryzen 3000 or Ryzen 5000. That includes the APUs, the 5600G and the 5700G, but it's not going to include the 3200G or the 3400G, as well as the previous generation CPUs. I checked online, their manual says that it's not compatible with those older 2000 or 1000 series Ryzen chips, just as a heads up. So let's flip to the back real quick, guys. All right, so you're gonna get 4, right here it tells you that you're gonna get 4 M.2 slots overall for this, as well as MSI's kind of like shield plates to keep them nice and cool. Then you're gonna have 2.5 gigahertz LAN, and this also has Wi-Fi 6 along with the Bluetooth connection that usually comes with Wi-Fi, which is awesome. Then you're also gonna have PCI Gen 4 support, and I'm pretty sure it's on 3 of the M.2 slots, but I'll have to check the manual for that and confirm that for you guys, but I'm pretty sure it's 3, and we'll talk about that more in a minute because obviously B550 doesn't have as many lanes as X570, so how the heck do we have 3 with 4.0 gen, right? Well, we'll see that in just a minute. And we're also gonna have a 14+2 power design with 90 amp power stages within each phase, which is absolutely bonkers. So this is gonna be really great for overclocking, even if you have a 5950X in this board. And then it has a 6-layer PCB for better signal transfer. So that's gonna mainly be aimed at memory overclocking. But I think on here it says up to like 40 or 5100 megahertz for the OC for memory. You should be able to get to that there. So let's go ahead and get this thing open real quick. Boom. Let's open it up. Let's see what's inside. Okay, so right off the bat, it's a little bit different design than the other motherboards. So you have like a little package right here, but let's find out what's inside. So inside we have its goodies. So inside this, we're gonna have, this is gonna be for strictly for our, this is our antenna right here, guys. So it comes with this one right here, but then at the same time, there's this right here. Okay, this is the base of it. So this is our antenna overall. This is the base of the antenna. So this is gonna hook on like right here, I believe. It's gonna slide, it should slide right in one way or another. Yeah, it should just slide right in. Yeah, just like that. So that's how your actual thing's gonna hook, and you're gonna be able to set this on the side. That's for your Wi-Fi 6. But for now, we'll set that over here. And then that's all it comes in this little box. And then we're gonna have the motherboard itself, which is nice and beefy, but I'm gonna pull that out real quick, see what's underneath, see if there's anything underneath real quick, and then we'll look at the motherboard as well. So there's a ton underneath. This is pretty sweet. Okay, so let's start over here. So you get 2 SATA connectors, or SATA cables. Typically what you get from a system like this, or from a motherboard in general, you're gonna have, this looks like it's for, maybe it's for RGB. I'm not absolutely sure what this one is for, but it comes with another connector right there. This is also looks like RGB right here. So this is for connecting up RGB devices. And then this also looks like it's for RGB as well. You're gonna have your badge, your MSI badge. This one's all black, which looks really nice. There's like not really any gray. I like this one a lot. Then you get 2 bags of M.2 screws. And we're also gonna get our advertising, of course, because MSI. And we get our drivers, which again, I would like to see a USB drive. Why not just throw us on a flash drive? It'd make it so much easier for everybody. Get some more advertising junk, get some stickers, which seem kind of cool. You actually can label your SATA cables. That's kind of cool. I actually kind of like this, just labels for your SATA cables or different cables that you have in there. And then we also have, what is this? DIY stand set includes 6 pieces of motherboard stands you can put together, put the motherboard on there, easy way to build test bench. Huh, so all this right here looks to be, let's finish going over this. Okay, it's installation, and you have your manual as well, which I'm gonna use this manual in a second. So let's put that right on top. But so this right here must be like a test bench. That's what it sounds like overall. That's what it looks like it's going to be, according to that little sheet. So this right here is used to build a test bench. I'm not gonna pop everything out. But according to that, according to this little sheet right here, DIY stand sets, you can build a test bench. Let's see if I can get a good look on that. You'll be able to use it as like a little, just a quick test bench so you can test out the motherboard. Which is pretty cool. So this is for an overclocking. Let's go ahead and throw this back in here, throw everything back in here. So this is gonna be a motherboard that people who wanna overclock are gonna focus on. So having this kind of feature is actually pretty cool. for that purpose. Again, this is a focus on overclocking, so why not throw it, something like that. So I like that from MSI. So let's go ahead and throw all this back in here, those in there so we don't get them lost. So motherboard goes back up here. Let's jump into the manual quick. Let me skim through it to see about those M.2s. But I'm fairly certain that I'm right about that, how it has 3. Okay, let's see. It says 23. I don't know if that, yeah, let's go to page 23. Okay. So depending on what mode you have is going to dictate whether or not you're going to get 4.0 or 3.0 speed. So if you keep it in chipset mode, the first slot is going to be 4.0 or 3.0 times 4. And it says that the specifications may be different depending on what CPU you have installed. And then if you keep it in chipset mode, which is the default, the second one, third one, and fourth one will all be 3.0. The second and third will be times 2, and then the fourth will be times 4. Now, I want to mention right here, if you keep it in chipset mode, it'll be the top PCIe slot will be 4.0 times 16. And then if you decide you want to switch it over to CPU mode, that's going to drop that top slot to PCIe 4.0 times 8. And then M.2.1 will be PCIe 4.0 times 4. M.2 will be PCIe 4.0 times 4. M.3 will be PCIe 4.0 times 4. And then you'll have the last one, which is 3.0 times 4. So you literally, if you set it into CPU mode, you will literally have 3 4.0 PCIe M.2 slots available to you if you want to use it. Of course, you have to do a 4.0 times 8, which from the testing I've seen, it's not going to impact performance on basically any generation GPU, including up to like the 3090. I've seen some testing on that, where 3.0 times 16 is plenty for those kind of GPUs, or 4.0 times 8 should be plenty for that. So we shouldn't lose any performance for the GPUs. If you have an even lower end GPU, you shouldn't even worry at all, and you can switch it to CPU mode. And if you want to run that many 4.0 M.2s, you definitely can. So let's go ahead and throw this over here, and let's get this motherboard open for you guys, which I'm excited to see what this motherboard actually has to offer, because again, it's a really expensive motherboard, so I'm expecting like very high end all across the board. So I can already feel right now how premium this feels overall. So let's go ahead and put this down. Let's get it straightened out off the bat. That's a really good looking board, guys. You see that? Wow. So up in the top corner right here, we have 2 8-pin connectors for your CPU. You can overclock to 5950X to oblivion if you want. This is gonna be focused for like LN2 type overclocking, so it's gonna be a very good board for that. You're gonna have these massive beefy heat sinks. So if you get this kind of board, you're gonna wanna make sure it's gonna fit in your case. Again, it has a 14+2 VRM, which is very, very, very powerful. This is going to probably be in like the tier S or the S- on the LTT tier list for motherboards. It's not actually on there right now, but I would say it's probably S or S-, I would guess, just based on the VRM and everything like that. So going from over here, we're gonna have obviously our retainers, which are actually just the standard retainers, I think, compared to the B550 ITX one that I did a video on before. Those ones seem like they were a little different. These seem like they were the same as the standard ones. Right here, we're gonna have our CPU fan header, and then you're gonna have one for your pump fan right here, and then we're gonna have one for your system fan number 1, 2, and then you also have a JSMB port, which, to be honest with you, I have no clue what that is, but I imagine it has something to do with the LED indicator right here, which is gonna be for errors or any issues that you have, which is gonna be super important for overclocking, changing stuff up, having error codes come up. Super, super convenient if you've ever, overclocked or messed around with your system. Over here, we're gonna have a J-Rainbow. This should be a 5-volt RGB connector. So for any 5-volt RGB you have, that'll go there. And then we're gonna have J-Corsair one. This is also RGB. This is a connector that with it in the box. You're gonna be able to use that as well. You have our 24-pin power connector to power our motherboard, USB-C connector right here, which is awesome to see. And then we see 6 SATA connectors right here. So if you want to add drives to your system, you can. They're all right angled, so that's very, very convenient. I like when I see this because it makes it a lot easier for cable management and stuff like that. And then we're gonna have a system fan 2 and 3. Gonna have another RGB connector right here. So right here, we're gonna have JFP1, which is gonna be your front I/O connector right here. The weird part is that the actual instructions for them are typically nearby. It's actually underneath this shield right here, which kind of stinks and makes it hard to see. And then you're gonna also have your speaker right here that if you do get a speaker, you can plug it in right there. Next to that, we're gonna have our LED switch for the RGB on your actual motherboard. You can just switch it on and off right here, which is cool. So you don't have to go into the BIOS, you can just flip it off. And then right here, which is really cool for anybody who uses these kind of systems and who likes to tinker and overclock, we have a power and we have a reset button, which is directly on the board for a test bench. This is gonna be an incredible board. Fortunately, I probably won't be using it for a test bench. I'll probably use it for my main system. And next to it, we have USB 3.0 connector, so you can add that to it. A USB connector, so you can add more USB ports if you want to. Another USB connector, 2 more system fans. We then have JTI 1, which I personally don't know what it actually is, so we'll have to check into the manual to see what that does. JDP1, again, I'm not sure what that is. We have 12 volt RGB for 12 volt connectors if you have that. And then you have JCI1 as well, which again, I'm not sure what that connector is either. Next to that, we have a 6-pin connector for PCIe power. It says power 1, so I imagine it's for the first lane if you're doing some heavy overclocking, but I'll have to look in the manual to see exactly what we're gonna be using for that. And then you have your J audio, so for your audio connector for your front panel as well. Moving up towards the top of the board, we're gonna have another system fan connector right here, and then we're gonna have JTPM1, which is for TPM module for like security and stuff, that kind of stuff. Okay, then we're gonna have, again, like I said, we have 4 M.2 slots. The first top one is gonna be right here. This one's gonna always be 4.0. The second one can be 4.0 if you're in the CPU mode, but it won't be if you're in the default chipset mode. The third is right here, again, can be 4.0, but if it's in the CPU mode only, if it's in chipset mode, it won't be. And then you have your last one down here, which will always be in 3.0 mode. And then we have a couple PCIe express lanes for your GPUs, those kind of things right here. And then you have smaller ×1 lanes right here, 2 of those right here. And then of course your CMOS battery that's gonna be sitting right here. So let's move on to the back I/O. So back I/O, we're gonna have a clear CMOS button, which is gonna be really useful if you're doing overclocking. Again, this is aimed at overclockers. You're gonna have your flash BIOS button right there. You're gonna have 2 USB 2.0, it looks like, 2 more USB 2.0 right there. You're gonna have HDMI if you have an APU in here. You're gonna have, this looks like PCIe 3.1 or 3.2. All 3 of these are, and then you're gonna have USB-C, 2.5 gig Ethernet, and this is for your Wi-Fi 6. And then of course all of your audio that's gonna be right here as well. That covers basically everything on here. And then the back plate, of course, is connected to the actual motherboard. You're not gonna have to put it in before that. So yeah, this is the MSI Mag Unify, non-Unified X. The X version is gonna have basically the same exact layout, except it's only gonna have 2 slots for your DDR4 memory, while this one has 4. Again, these are aimed at overclockers, so having 2 would let you overclock your memory a lot more than having 4 DIMMs in here that the Unify actually has here. So let me know any questions you might have about this board down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.